All right. First and foremost, I want to give all praises unto YAHAWAH by SHAM, YAHAWASH. So all praises to the Most High in the name of His Son. All right. This is Rayabya God from the Issachar Seattle set, and I want to touch on this breakdown called I'm gonna title in the video Godzilla in the Bible. All right, which the sea creature Leviathan, which if you have watched the Godzilla movies or have an understanding of the idea of the Godzilla movies, that is pretty much the best illustration of what this creature is, Leviathan, or in Hebrew Leviathan. All right. Now, this is a breakdown that I did 3 years ago when I was in GMS, and it's been almost 4 years since I've my bad. It's been almost 3 years since I've done this breakdown. So this is an updated version. You know, I'm in a new camp. You know what I'm saying? And this is something that always intrigued me because I was always a fan of Godzilla. You know what I'm saying? The character. And then when I came into the truth, you know, even being a Christian as I was, or in reading the Bible, I came across Job 41, but it never dawned on me that this same character right here is a representation of that particular chapter, Job 4, the 41st chapter. All right, dealing with Leviathan or Leviathan according to the Hebrew. All right, now I did that breakdown. You know what I'm saying? Now, and ever since I did that breakdown, I've wanted to do an updated, more thorough version of that. All right. And I believe that I have, through the Spirit, have the best version of that. And I can bring out some more sources and information of what could be going on in the near future with this particular creature. All right. And like I said, this is the best representation. All right, dealing with Godzilla, this character that was created over there in Japan by the Japanese, is probably the best representation, the best illustration, the closest illustration to what Leviathan is in the spirit of that character. Okay, because when you deal with the character Godzilla, you know they made the film 10 years after the Hiroshima and Nagasaki bombings of the atomic bombs. Okay, in every aspect of the character, from using the character as a metaphor for, you know, mankind and what mankind, like the destruction that mankind causes. This is the spiritual, you know, spiritually this is nature fighting back. Okay, in the form of a creature mutated by the hydrogen bomb. You know what I'm saying? That, you know, even the characters, when you look at this character's skin, it represents the burnt skin that the people over there in Hiroshima and Nagasaki went through. You know what I'm saying? They were burnt. They got, you know, their skin was burnt. You know, every aspect to it. You know what I'm saying? The metaphor behind the making of the original film, and even some of the films that were made during the 80s and 90s follow after that particular ideology of the metaphor and allegorical spiritual understanding of why the creature is the way it is and why it's destroying things. Now, when we transfer this or make a comparison to real life, this particular creature, Leviathan, all right, is going to be that same representation through God to use, you know, in turn when He starts passing forth this judgment. Now, you know what I'm saying? This is one of the ways that the Lord is going to pass His judgment, through using a creature like this. All right. Now, first and foremost, let me go ahead and I'm gonna get back to Second Ezra. Let me go ahead and get Sirach chapter 39. You know, going into what I was just speaking on just a quick second ago. In verse 28, and I'm gonna start there. You know, and I'm gonna give credit to where credit is due. You know, I'm a man of honor. You know, GMS was the only camp that, you know, a lot of us sprang up from GMS in Sakari, but I know for myself that this this particular topic was that camp was the only camp that went into this particular topic, which prompted me to do a video back then on this particular topic, because I felt it hit home with me, being that I was such a Godzilla fan, and seeing that this creature actually exists in the scriptures and somewhere out in the ocean, most likely in the Pacific Ocean. You know what I'm saying? But with that said, let me bring this out. This is Ecclesiasticus, Sirach, chapter 39, verse 28. There be spirits that are created for vengeance, which in their fury lay on sore strokes. In the time of destruction, they pour out, Salaki for that, which in their fury lay on sore strokes. In the time of destruction, they pour out their force and appease the wrath of him that made them. All right, so there be spirits that are created for vengeance. Okay, this particular character, when you watch the Godzilla movies, when you watch the original Japanese 1954 film, not the 1956 film, the Americanized Godzilla versus Godzilla King of the Monsters film that came out 2 years after the original release, it gave you a sense of this, mankind being shown like you're not the force that you present. You're not the dominant species on this planet. You know what I'm saying? And that's and through the spirit, when you deal with that whole allegorical message and understanding, you know what I'm saying, and when you coincide with the scriptures and we deal with how the Most High thinks, because he's the one that allows nature to run its course, it be like it says, there be spirits that be created for vengeance, and that character is a force of nature. Okay, and there's a lot of different forces of nature, and I'm gonna keep reading. Okay, and it's gonna run off a couple lists. Fire and hail and famine and death, all these were created for vengeance. Okay, so not only this spirit of vengeance can come in the form of natural disasters, famine. It can come in pestilence, famine. You know what I'm saying? Fire and hail. Okay. Verse 30, teeth of wild beasts and scorpions, serpents, and the sword, punishing the wicked to destruction. All right. So the Lord has different spirits of vengeance he can put in through a walking creature. You know what I'm saying? We're creatures. We can be that sword. You know what I'm saying? Like the white man is to the nation of Israel. You know what I'm saying? But even then, dealing with wild beasts, teeth of wild beasts, and scorpions and serpents. Now, it's ironic how they separated scorpions, serpents, and wild beasts. That, to me, is very telling. Okay? It says the teeth of wild beasts and scorpions and serpents. They separate serpents, scorpions, and wild beasts. You know what I'm saying? In particular, this creature is a serpent, Salakia. This particular creature is a serpent, a dragon, a dinosaur. And I'm going to get into that real quick. Just want to finish this chapter off, giving you that understanding of the allegorical message that was behind those films, which coincide with the scriptures, which gives you a best illustration of how Leviathan is and how that creature in particular is going to be like when he surfaces out of that ocean. Hell, when he's in the ocean destroying certain in the end times, destroying certain submarines and tanks or underwater craft and whatnot from these different nations. All right. Verse 31, they shall rejoice in his commandment. They shall be ready upon earth when need is. And when their time is come, they shall not transgress his word. So, they appease the wrath of him that made them, which is the Most High, and they will not transgress his word. So when the Lord brings forth that particular, allows this creature in particular to unleash holy hell, and most likely there's probably more than one of these creatures. And like I said, I'm gonna get into that in a second. When that happens, when the Lord gives that green light, this like how certain Israelite can't say, and I'm gonna give the green light. Well, guess what? The Lord's gonna give the green light to this motherfucker right here. Excuse my language. Gonna give this green light for this creature right here to go and utterly destroy. Because that's what this creature is about. Destruction and vengeance, man. Just like how they portray that in the original film. Okay, because in the original 1954 film, which You know, the 1950s, like I have to reiterate, 1956 film was an Americanized version. They took out certain elements that was anti-American or blaming America for the atomic bomb droppings and the H-bomb testing that they did on those particular islands. Okay. Um, you know, also too, if you watch the 90s, the 80s, and the 90s films, I suggest that brothers go watch that to give you an understanding on the spirit behind the force that the Lord is going to put forth in this creature. You know what I'm saying? The Leviathan creature, which Godzilla is the best representation of. All right, I recommend brothers go watch the original film and the film from the 80s through 90s series. All right, but let me go ahead and go into Genesis chapter 1, verse 21. And it reads, God created great whales and every living creature that moveth, which the waters brought forth abundantly after their kind, and every winged fowl after his kind. And God saw that it was good. Now, Alahayim, okay, Christ and the angels, so you can understand, which that's what the word God is, created great whales. Okay. Let me look at the word whale, because if somebody can read this verbatim and say, oh, this is talking about big ass whales, so to speak. Well, let me check the Strongs real quick. Okay. Tanayin. Okay. That's what this word is in the Hebrew. And I'm going to read off some of the definitions. Dragon, serpent, sea monster. Dragon or dinosaur. Sea or river monster. Serpent, venomous snake. Okay, so this word equates to pretty much a sea monster. In particular, of the serpentine kind. Reptiles. All right, and it said dinosaurs. Okay, and guess what? Ironically, this creature is a dinosaur, dragon, sea monster. Okay, so just giving you an understanding, when the Alahayim was creating the earth, this particular creature was created during this particular time when the creatures were being created, which included man as well. All right. Now let me go ahead and let me go ahead and go into let me go ahead and go into this. Let me get at Second Ezra real quick. And get Second Ezra chapter 6, verse 49. All right. Because I want to bring something out since I brought that out in Genesis. Okay. Second Ezra chapter 6, verse 49. Then didst thou ordain two living creatures. All right. The one thou callest Enoch, and Enoch represents man. All right. And the other Leviathan. All right. The Leviathan, the sea monsters, sea creatures of that particular species in particular. Going back to Genesis 1st chapter 21. God, the Most High, created great whales, great sea monsters. Not just include, which Leviathan or Leviathan is included in. Okay. And verse 50. And didst separate the one from the other, for the seventh part, namely where the water was gathered, might not hold them both. Okay. And so pretty much on land, or wherever the population of Enoch, which represents man, and Leviathan, the sea monsters, you know what I'm saying, they can't be put in the same area. Okay, we wouldn't be able to coexist. We can naturally we can coexist with a lion or a tiger, or even some of the other dinosaurs that was walking around at the time. But we couldn't coexist with this particular creature because it is a dominant. You know, the characteristic of this creature is not only is it dominant, but there's no way we'd be able to live, because it's a large ass creature for one, but also two, its nature is destructive. There would be no progress with us. That's why the Lord had to separate. All right. Verse 51, unto Enoch thou gavest one part which was dried up the third day, that he should dwell in the same part wherein are 1,000 hills. And guess what? That's where we're at right now. We're in the surface, all right, where 1,000 hills are on land, all right. Verse 52, but unto Leviathan thou gavest the seventh part, namely the moist. The seventh part, namely the moist. Speaking of the Lord putting that particular creature in the oceans, okay, that particular creature in the ocean. You know what I'm saying? Because this planet is 70% water. All right, 70% of this place is water, and it's okay. So the Lord put that particular creature in that environment, and most likely in the depths of the oceans. Okay. And that's kept them to be devoured of whom thou wilt and win. Okay. Now let me go ahead and bring out some information, or it's locked. Let me go ahead and get into Psalms real quick, because I want to touch on something real quick. Let me get Psalms 104, verse 25. All right. This is Psalms 104, verse 25. And it reads, so is the great and wide sea, wherein are things creeping innumerable, both small and great beasts. All right. So both small and great beasts in the wide, vast sea that we know of. Okay. And hell, parts that we don't know of. You know what I'm saying? And let me go ahead and get that scripture real quick in Job. Because this white man believes that he can go out in the depths of the oceans and he can just search out things. You know what I'm saying? He believes that he searched the whole depths of the oceans. Like the devil that he is, like the proud demon that he is. Okay, let me get this. Job 38 and I believe verse 15. Let me get this, and I'm gonna go right back to Psalms real quick. All right, this is Job chapter 38 and verse 15. And it says, and from the wicked their light is withholden, and the high arm shall be broken. Verse 16, hast thou entered into the springs of the sea, or hast thou walked in search of the depth? Okay, so like it's asking the wicked, hast thou entered into the springs of the sea? Have you dwelled in the vast parts of the sea? Hast thou walked in the stretched slack, or hast thou walked in the search of the depth? You know what I'm saying? So you haven't walked through the depth, you know what I'm saying, of the seas, man, or on the land in particular, man. So there's, like it says, like it says in the 25th verse, so is this great and wide sea, wherein are things creeping innumerable, both small and great beasts. So there's an innumerable multitude of creatures down there, man. All right. So this damn white man believes he done searched everything out, but the scriptures speak otherwise, which proves he's a devil and he's a liar. You know what I'm saying? But let me keep reading. Verse 26, and obviously a big ocean on a big planet like this can fit a creature like Leviathan, or species of creature like Leviathan. It's a very large creature. Okay. All right, let me keep going on. Psalms 104, verse 26. There go the ships. There is that Leviathan, whom thou hast made to play therein. Okay. So like it says, there go the ships. There is that Leviathan, whom thou hast made to play therein. All right. So the creature, these creatures are out there in the depths of the ocean playing with ships, man. That's why you hear about them rumors of what happened to them ships in the Bermuda Triangle. You know what I'm saying? A lot. They be saying some spooked out stuff like, which, hey, the angels and their chariots could be messing with them, but shoot, you're in the oceans, you're in the depths of the sea, man. It's very possible a large dinosaur-like creature could be just destroying them ships and never find them. You know what I'm saying? And that's part of the reason why. And like I said, I'll give another credit. I remember GMS saying this a while ago that a lot of times or dealing with the Titanic. A lot of people say it was a glacier. You know, a lot of people in the world say it's a glacier happened. You know what I'm saying? If it hit a glacier, or it hit some ice mountains or something like that. Okay, but it's very possible a sea creature could have gotten it and destroyed it. Nobody brings that up. Now I find it ironic that somebody made this picture a while back. You know, I remember looking at this 3 years ago. Who's responsible? Who's responsible for this? Somebody forgot to say for this. But it says 30 minutes later. Okay. Now somebody, you know, it's funny. It's a funny picture, but damn, it could be very, 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 very true, man. Like it says. Where is that at? Psalms 104 in verse 27. Or verse 26, there go the ships. There is that Leviathan who now is made to play them. So most likely, and you know, they blaspheme the Most High, saying even God couldn't sink this ship. You know what I'm saying? So the Lord sunk the ship ultimately, but how the Lord did it? Me personally, I believe this creature did. Because I even did some research on the Titanic, man. The Titanic was torn in half. And when if a ship was to hit something, it doesn't sink the way, you know, a lot of people say it sinks, man. It doesn't sink like that, man. In the way the depiction was in the picture, you can say that it flooded and the weight tilted, so it became unbalanced. But at the same time, it could be something was pulling it down. You know what I'm saying? So there's a theory right there that's very plausible and very possible. Okay. Now, there's another part I want to touch on before I go into Job, the 40th chapter. Okay. Let me get Wisdom of Solomon. Let me go ahead and get Wisdom of Solomon chapter 11, verse 15. Okay. Just dealing with some other facts and certain things I discovered, you know what I'm saying? And obviously dealing with this scripture as well, you know, just the possibility of this being the case. Okay. Wisdom of Solomon chapter 11 and verse 15. All right. And it says, but for the foolish devices of their wickedness, wherewith being deceived, they worship serpents void of reason, vile beasts. Thou didst send a multitude of unreasonable beasts upon them for vengeance. Okay. Oh, wait a second. Let me start up at verse 13. For when they heard their own punishments, the others to be benefited, they had some feeling of the Lord, for whom they respected with scorn, when he was long before thrown out at the casting forth of the infants, him in the end. When they saw what came to pass, they admired. But for the foolish devices of their wickedness, wherewith being deceived, they worship serpents void of reason, and vile beasts. Thou didst send a multitude of unreasonable beasts upon them for vengeance, that they might know that wherewithal a man sinneth, by the same also shall he be punished. Okay, so the Most High, so you know, our people in particular was always worshiping different animals, different idols. So the Lord could send a multitude of unreasonable beasts upon them for vengeance. You know what I'm saying? But let me keep reading. Verse 16, that they might know that, verse 17, for thy almighty hand that made the world of matter without form, when it or wanted not, means to send among them a multitude of bears or fierce lions. Verse 18, or unknown wild beasts full of rage, newly created, breathing out either a fiery vapor or filthy scents of scattered smoke, or shooting horrible sparkles out of their eyes. Wherefore not only the harm might dispatch them at once, but also the terrible sight utterly destroy them. Okay. But Oh yeah, verse 20. And obviously this description is describing creatures that we've never seen before, newly created. Horrible creatures that the Lord has the potential and the power to do so. Okay, and I'm gonna get to and I'm gonna get into what I'm speaking of in a second. Let me finish this verse off. Verse 20. Yea, without these might have fallen down with one blast, being persecuted of vengeance and scattered abroad through the breadth of thy power. But thou hast ordered all things and measured in number and weight. So the Most High, his will is not to destroy or have things destroyed, but through the arrogance of our particular people, the nation of Israel, and even when dealing with these other nations, boast themselves against the Most High has the ability to create these particular newly created creatures. You know what I'm saying? These beasts newly created. It's talking about shooting horrible sparkles out of their eyes, fiery vapor, filthy sense of scattered smoke. I mean, you can have, if you have a good enough imagination, you would understand what that's talking about. Some things that we ain't never seen of creatures. But the point I want to use in making this is that there's a potential that this creature, just like dealing with the creature Godzilla, where it was mutated from the hydrogen bomb, and even more, and absorbed radiation and made itself more powerful in certain films. There's a potential that this particular creature, Leviathan, could have been irradiated, because when you deal with the Fukushima spill that happened like a couple years ago, in the amount of nuclear waste that's been in the ocean, there's been nothing but a bunch of creatures that you never seen before popping up out the oceans, or you see creatures either mutated or having deformities because of the radiation popping up out the ocean. And this is happening on a all-time level that we've never seen before. Okay, so the Lord could allow newly created creatures to be created off of that. And there's a potential that this particular creature was irradiated or mutated or irradiated by some of that nuclear waste that happened. And that is still happening in the Pacific Ocean to this very day from that Fukushima spill. Okay, and I remember a couple years ago that that the spill is going so far in the Pacific Ocean that it's going to come over here on the West Coast, in particular where California is at. Hell, even where I'm at in Washington. You know what I'm saying? It's not a far-fetched thing to believe, because I'm gonna pull this out, because with the prophecies that we see, so like the prophecies that we see in the Bible and the scriptures, guess what? The elites, these elites know. They know about this creature, man. They know about Leviathan. They know about the Most High, what the Most High has in store for them. Okay, and on the left-hand side, they have their own ways of prophecy that coincides with the scriptures. All right. Now, this is off the Illuminati card game. Atomic monster. How ironic. Disaster. This is an instant attack to destroy any coastal place. Let me read the text off of this if you can't read it. Disaster. This is an instant attack to destroy any coastal place. It does not require an action. Its damage is 16. But that's the point. You know what I'm saying? Instant damage. 16, a huge place. 20 against any other place. But 24 against Japan or California. It's Slovakia, man. I forgot about that part. But 24 against Japan and California. Now, this is a card game and whatnot, so you got to understand, why it's saying all this. But the interesting part to me is 24 against Japan or California. Okay, if the attack succeeds, the target is devastated. If it succeeds by more than 6, the target is destroyed. Okay, so Japan and California. And you know what's ironic is that in that last movie that America did with Godzilla back in 2014, that film, or the climax of that film, was set in San Francisco. if I'm not mistaken, in California somewhere. And like I said, that Fukushima spill is spilling all the way to the Pacific Ocean. And they said that within the next decade that spill is going to enter in our coastline, man. It's going to enter in where, our particular part of the Pacific Ocean. Okay, from Japan to Japan or California. Okay, and it's ironic, atomic monster. You know what I'm saying? You can even look at the depiction right here, man. It's looked just like Godzilla, but it has devil horns and all that other satanic shit that this white man put on this image. But that's the point. You know what I'm saying? And we know that the Illuminati card game has a lot of predictive programming in its game. Okay, and they make the atomic monster to appear wicked or evil. You know what I'm saying? When at the end of the day, the creature is ordained by the Most High to allow to do whatever he wants that creature to do. You know what I'm saying? So let me get this in another card. All right. Let me blow the image up a little bit so you guys can read for yourself. Robot Sea Monster gives 4+ to any attempt to destroy any corporate or government group or any coastal place, including with a disaster, except in space, to any direct attempt to destroy Japan or California. Okay, so this right here, man, it's ironic to me that it said Robot Sea Monster because let me pull out an image real quick. Let me put this out here real quick. And these are all things that I'm coming up with because when you start seeing a lot of these things and start putting certain things together, some things just become obvious. Okay. Now, when you deal with this film, Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla 2, this film was about the UN, the United Nations, creating a monster or creating a robotic version of this monster, Godzilla, to fight against it. You know what I'm saying? The Japanese and the UN, the United Nations all came together, had the people build a robotic monster to fight this creature. You know what I'm saying? And it's ironic that in the Illuminati card game, robotic sea monster, all right, to any gives a 4+ in this game to any attempt to destroy any corporate or government group or coastal place. Because when you deal with the character Godzilla in the movies, it was always attacking nuclear plants, absorbing nuclear plants' energy or destroying particular waste or nuclear plants and substance and whatnot, which would draw the creature into the city. You know what I'm saying? That it's ironic. That's what this card is speaking on in terms of the real life or the counterpart to with the Illuminati card game, dealing with this particular movie dealing with this particular movie right here. I just find it ironic, you know what I'm saying, that they have that. And this battle took place between Godzilla and Mechagodzilla. And then when you deal with the Illuminati card game, the atomic monster versus attacking in Japan or in California, any nuclear plants are destroying the city, you have the counterpart of that created by the government to protect corporate or government groups or protect cities and whatnot. Okay, and it says, and like I said, Japan to California. Just do the math. You know what I'm saying? Fukushima spill is going to come close to our coastline. Okay, it's going to come to almost to the point where we won't be able to drink the water that we're drinking currently to this very day. You know what I'm saying? And when you connect that fact to the movie Godzilla that was made in 2014 over here in America, where the character originates from Japan, but it came over here in California and did battle and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? So it's something to think about. It's something to observe now. Okay.